Bridge Initiative grant program, and to really learn a lot more about the transformative projects that this funding will support. We have an exciting and informative roundtable discussion ahead, but before we get to our panel, there are a few individuals in the audience whom I would like to recognize. I believe that we have the president of the Board of Public Utilities. Is Joe here? I haven't seen Joe. No? We'll give him a shout out anyway. Joe Fiordalisa is supposed to be here. Maybe he's going to join us a little bit late. And then we have the Deputy Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Labor, Nick Toth, here. And I believe we also have Assemblyman Nick Chiavarlotti here somewhere. Hey, Nick. He reached out to me this morning because he has worked to help develop this incredible place, the Clinton Hill Early Childhood Site. So, Nick, thanks so much for joining us. And to the rest of you, thank you all for being here today. Chairing the Council on the Green Economy has been one of the most important and consequential responsibilities of my time as First Lady. Together, the members of the Council engage deeply in conversations across a broad swath of stakeholders in labor, in industry, government, and advocacy spaces to understand and quantify the landscape of green jobs and the opportunity for inclusive growth in New Jersey's green economy. As a culmination of the first phase of our work together, we were tasked with delivering a strategic roadmap to define a clear pathway for green job creation, development of workforce capacity, and support for an innovation ecosystem. I can say with certitude that every member of the Council came to this work with not only an understanding of the urgency of the climate crisis and what is at stake for New Jersey, but also the magnitude of the opportunity before us. The opportunity to leverage the bold climate action we have taken under the governor's leadership, considerable new investments in green technology and infrastructure, and the strength and readiness of our workforce to fulfill high-quality green jobs that help families thrive. The awards we are announcing today will catalyze and support successful models for increasing opportunity, particularly for communities like this one, vibrant neighborhoods on the front lines of our climate crisis. I am thrilled to see everything that has already begun to grow from the work on the Council on the Green Economy, including these exciting projects. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jane Cohen, Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Climate Action and the Green Economy, to share with us some more details about the Council's work and these awards. Jane?
Thank you, First Lady. Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna see if I can get the same reaction the First Lady got. Good morning, everyone. Yes. I'm happy to have that excited reaction. As the Executive Director of the New Jersey Council on the Green Economy, I am just absolutely thrilled to be here today for this event. So first of all, I want to thank the Clinton Hill Early Childhood Education Center for hosting us. And it's so wonderful to see so many partners and allies here with us today. The governor stood up the New Jersey Council on the Green Economy back in 2021, recognizing that the huge shift our society is embarking on to move to clean energy is really an opportunity that we have to be very, very intentional about. And so we brought council members from every corner of New Jersey. We brought folks from labor, our environmental justice communities, academia, business, and our state representatives to come and really talk about how we can make sure that we are really leveraging this opportunity to create a more diverse workforce and to ensure that our legacy energy workers have a way to transition into these new jobs. We had three main ways of working through our task. We had a lot of council meetings where our council members brought their expertise to the table. We did over 100 stakeholder interviews, so really trying to talk to pretty much everybody that we thought would be impacted and will be impacted by this major change. And then we did real modeling. So we looked at all of our clean energy policies, our energy needs over the coming years, and we really put out the landscape of how we are going to need to do this transition. And the result was the report that the governor released back in September. And in that report, we put out a number of recommendations that state agencies, private actors, others really need to follow in order to bring New Jersey to where we know we can be as a state. And I'm really pleased today that the recipients of our bridge grant all are aligning with the recommendations in this report. And we're really excited to seed these ideas with these grantees and to see how we are able to really deliver on the promise of this transition. So I'm really excited to be here today, and thank you, First Lady, our honorary chair of the council, to hear more about the projects that will help us with this transition. So thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Okay, it is now my honor to introduce our panelists. So to my right, we have Andre Thomas of Isles and Kate Gold from Solar Landscape. To my left, we have none other than Kim Gaddy. I think a few of you might know Kim, founder and director of the South Ward Environmental Alliance and a member of the board of directors of this wonderful school, so Clinton Hill Community Action. We have Robert Smith, Executive Director of the Eastern Atlantic States Carpenters Technical College, and Dr. Brendan Rickards, Vice President of Academic Services at Rowan College of South Jersey. So let's get started, and my first question is for all of you. I wonder if you wouldn't please describe the services or programs that this funding will support and how your work to expand opportunities for people to enter the green workforce and climb the green career ladder. How does it impact that? And Kate, why don't we start with you?
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Gold from Solar Landscape. Just to answer the question, I guess, we're so grateful to be part of this conversation. It's so important. Being at a school means a lot to us too. This is the future. I have 2 young children. Like, this is really exciting to be talking about this. I think that the grant money for us is so important. We just want to be able to expand this. We want to get ahead of these jobs and make sure that we're doing everything we can for the readiness of the green economy. So I think the expansion of our program, making sure that we are hitting the communities that need it the most, that are on the front lines of climate change, would be the most impactful and what we kind of plan to focus on.
Thank you. Andre?
Yes, I just want to first personally thank you, First Lady, and the Governor's Office for making this investment. I recall you visiting Isles a few months ago, and we talked about doing this, and a couple of the guys that came to that meeting are now working, and I just want to say thank you because you not only talked about it, but you made the investment, so I just want to personally thank you. Our project fills many of the gaps in the employment system, provides support for long-term employment for new workers. We meet them where they are. We try to assess their skills, their technical skills, but also look to see what their life skills are. Any other supports that they may need, then we want to be supportive of those things. Things like transportation, setting up future financial success. We're able to do those things by helping them clean up their debts and make a budget and goals for purchasing a new vehicle and or home. Part of providing opportunities is not only preparing a great workforce, but also helping employers so they are able to hire those workers. That's why we include a short-term salary support to employers so the cost of hiring new workers is reduced. And also we added a component to support the development and growth of smaller businesses to gain skills they need to become more profitable and take advantage of the new opportunities in energy efficiency work. And some of those local contractors are also ex-offenders, nonviolent ex-offenders trying to get engaged. We want to help support them because they want to take on guys that are coming out of the system. And the work ultimately helps rebuild our communities in terms of lead and also making it energy efficiency. So this funding will help to create this sort of a net to provide and build a great workforce and build a great foundation so these guys can take advantage of this new workforce.
Thank you, Andre. You do great work, so we're really excited about that. Kim?
Thank you, First Lady Murphy. Before I start, I want to acknowledge our South Ward Councilman, Pat Council. Thank you. He's a key supporter. And Councilwoman at Large. Oh, I didn't see you. Roundtree. Thank you. They are both supporters of our environmental agenda here in the city of Newark. And the South Ward Environmental Alliance, along with Clinton Hill Community Action, our partner, will be focusing on a 16-week and it's a 16-week training program that will prioritize environmental justice, because we truly understand that those that are most marginalized and impacted by pollution must be the first ones to have a seat at the table and meaningful participation in the narrative of what their community should look like and what those jobs should be. So we're looking forward to making sure that we provide services in the green jobs career exploration. Not everybody even understand what a solar installer is. So let's explore what those opportunities are, about when, about green infrastructure. And then what is also crucially important is leadership development. The Southward Environmental Alliance have a Green Alliance Leadership Academy because we want to connect the environmental degradation and the changes that's needed in our community to what the future should be. So where there is a lot of flooding in our communities, we want to understand why there's flooding in our community. And we know climate change is real, and so we want to then train up the next generation of green infrastructure installers as the first line of defense against flooding in our communities. Wraparound services and support, which Clinton Hill Community Action is key, and that's what they're bringing to this table. You see this beautiful facility, so they are going to be involving the parents, from the community. They want to make sure that the services they need, whether it's transportation, whether it's career development, whether it's any kind of support with food, these are all things that oftentimes prevent individuals from engaging in these type of jobs. And then job placement is also crucial. And so we know with Southward Environmental Alliance, we're partnered with the City of Newark Greenworks, and they have had 3 courses in which they trained up Newark residents, and Tamisha Woods is one of our green infrastructure Southward residents installer. And we need more of individuals like Tamisha to work with Newark Dig. I see Nicole Miller's in the audience, because this helps us to employ our residents and to do the work in our immediate community. And that's just a snapshot.
Robert, over to you.
Thank you, First Lady. Wow, that was good morning, everyone. My name is Rob Smith. I'm from the Eastern Atlantic States Carpenters Technical College. For those of you who don't know, that is the former Northeast Carpenters Training Program in Edison. We have a statewide reach. We have 3 training centers, one in Edison, one in Sicklerville, and one in Hamilton, New Jersey. We train over 1,000 New Jersey residents daily in registered apprenticeships. We see the investment is so important, and it's connecting with the communities and the investment here by the state. But we're very looking to create that pathway through our CARP pre-apprenticeship program to the community. Our CARP pre-apprenticeship program was started about 6 years ago. It has now had growth in the New Jersey region and sector, and we're looking to connect people of the community and our members and everybody in the careers that are out there. So this funding will bolster those type of programs. It'll also bolster some equipment and technology. And what Ms. Gaddy brought up was we're looking at how do you introduce somebody to an offshore wind career? How do you introduce somebody to that solar career, or what's going to be expected and what those job responsibilities are? To connect with this, I have 2 younger boys as well, and I know virtual reality is very popular, and we're seeing that as a way of increasing scalability and introducing in a safe environment what the actual skills that will be required and needed. So we're honored to be here today, and thank you.
Dr. Rickards, I know you're next.
Thank you, First Lady. So on behalf of RCSJ, I want to thank you for funding this initiative. What we are looking to do at Rowan College of South Jersey is to develop wide and diverse training programs that provide substantial wraparound services to those that are coming from our more marginalized communities and overburdened communities, because What I think exists are major barriers, and these barriers to training have nothing to do with skill sets. They have nothing to do with preparation. They have nothing to do with knowledge or ability. What they all have to do with is external barriers, be it childcare, be it transportation, food insecurities. We've developed a number of programs of support at the college to allow individuals to come to the college for other training programs. What we're looking to do with the funding from this is to provide a specific training program that we've been working on in collaboration with both Orsted and the New Jersey Wind Institute. I want to give a shout out to Jen Becker, who I know is here. We've been working to develop an intensive training program for residents of New Jersey to get them trained directly in the wind industry so that they actually do know, just like my colleague mentioned here, what they're going to be doing. And not only what are they going to be doing, how are they going to be doing this? So we're going to use the funding for this to support individuals to go through this training program to get them directly onto the new wind turbines as they're developed. Now, as I mentioned, kind of the training that we're going to be providing, really what this is going to allow will be the support services. It's not necessarily the training. We can do that at the college because we have the funding, we have the ability, and we've developed the programming. But this funding is specifically for the citizens. It's going to go right back to the individuals that are being trained there such that they can go through this workforce training program with paid stipends to allow them to be ready to enter into the workforce in 2024 as we move forward. So we're looking to do this both in the wind industry as well as in the water industry as we develop these programs. Thank you.
I think you can all see the breadth and depth that these are going to have a lot of impact, so thank you so much, each of you. For the next question, I want to go back to Kate one more time. Kate, Solar Landscape has a model that you have deployed in many states, and I'm wondering if you could share with us some of the best practices and perhaps give us an example as to how that's going to develop here in New Jersey.
Sure. So our model at, I guess to be specific in New Jersey, the way that this started, it was very new to us. A big reason that we launched this idea of job training was through the Community Solar Program. That was initiated by the Board of Public Utilities and Governor Murphy, and it's been so successful. It's given us the chance to offer solar to underprivileged communities at a very low, at a discount. So I think that what was really specific to us was making sure that we were getting into these communities and making an impact quickly through schools and through partnerships. One of the things that we're most excited about, and I think you mentioned transportation, we have a new pilot program that we're launching with Lyft. It's a program through Lyft Up. It's similar to Uber. We're about to initiate a 6-month pilot where we're actually offering rideshare codes to residents. So we're most excited about that.
And just to add one thing, to continue to plug our report, transportation, I think everybody in this community knows, transportation is just one of the biggest barriers. I mean, Andre and I have been speaking about this problem for years. It's very hard to think about, how to solve the transportation issue, and thinking about these sort of innovative partnerships, how to leverage, private-public partnerships in order to solve something that is very, very tricky and one of the biggest barriers. It's just really exciting to see.
Yeah. Thank you. I think we're going to initiate this program soon. It's going to be specific to New Jersey residents. It's going to be, we have a whole model that's planned out, and I'd be happy to share. This is brand new to us, but it's going to be offering rides to residents specific through the Job Corps program, through the Department of Labor, for students or trainees who need rides to jobs, to interviews, to work. So we're so excited about this. It was through this conversation and this theme that we kept hearing of the barriers of transportation that we sort of did some digging and figured out how do we as a for-profit organization make that impact. So that was, that's I think something that we're going to be excited to begin to talk about as it launches.
That's a perfect segue to Andre. So Andre, we have talked historically about some of the challenges to actually find a good sustainable job. Can you just explain how this grant is going to help you, not only with the challenges of finding a good sustainable job, we just heard Kate talk about transportation challenges. What other obstacles do you see out there?
Absolutely. Yes, so when folks come to us looking for opportunities, what holds them back is the work is important, right? Going in, reducing childhood-led, energy efficiency work is very important, and folks want to embark on that, but what holds them back is the lack of wraparound services. This helps us to really, again, see where these folks are, assess their skills, but then also provide additional services to help get them not only get the job, but also keep the job. Job coaching, life skills development, soft skills, and also the technical skills that they can learn. It helped really give them a foundation so when they go into this workforce, is upward mobility. And we want to ensure that when they go in, they're successful, but they can also move up. I found working with folks that they want to take care of their families. They just need a pathway to do it. And we want to support them in that pathway to get to doing this work. And we also have an EV project we're working on here in Trenton, New Jersey. And this is going to also have a ride share opportunity and help folks to get to jobs that they can't get to. Because we know that if folks can get to work, they'll try to get there and often exacerbate the problem. So really helping to reduce that threat is important, but also help them get their driver's license. That's another important part. Getting their driver's license, support for those areas is great. But again, more importantly, once they get in, they got the job. Now, how do they work out their finances, right? Really help them work out their budget. When a worker is figuring out their finances, they're a better worker. And they feel like they're a part of the solution. And I think this opportunity will help us to not only just work on the houses that we work on, but now work on the people, investing in the people so that they can help to rebuild their communities. I think that's important. And this grant will help us do that.
Thank you. So Dr. Rickards, I'm going to turn your direction now. Offshore wind is clearly something that's growing around the world, and I'm wondering what you're seeing in terms of an uptick in interest. How do we communicate with students to make sure they know what the opportunities are, and what can we do to further get the word out about all of the tremendous jobs of the future in that space?
So I'll start first with the uptick in interest. So, you know, we are seeing at the college a number of individuals that are coming and looking at what opportunities are. We actually house an open house event where people come and look at new programs, and we had our first one the middle of last week. As part of that open house event, we had a big presentation that we put forth on the offshore wind and the emerging industry there. And we did use some of the virtual reality, and we had individuals that would literally sit on there for 5 to 10 to 20 minutes, and the virtual reality gives you the simulation of what it's like to be literally 800 feet above the sea, working hands-on. And interesting enough, there were some adults that were involved in that, but there were a lot more younger individuals. And I think the younger individuals are where the next phase of recruitment is. So the interest level that we saw was very, very, very high. The tables and displays, everybody was coming through and literally sampling what it was like. So I think the interest in New Jersey is very high for training and working in the wind industry. Now, in terms of recruitment, how are we going to reach bringing in the next generation? Obviously, I'm probably not the one that's going to be trained to go and work in the wind industry at this point, but we have to recruit the younger generation to do so. And the way to get them is through one thing we already just mentioned, is experiences with virtual reality. I think that it feeds on the video game, the TikTok. They can get the quick little experiences. So when I think we look at recruitment, traditional recruitment and just saying, well, here's the job, here's what you're going to do, that's not going to work with this generation, because the attention span, they want to see things fast, they want to experience things fast. So I think it's going to be getting things out on social media, showing examples of what the work is, giving short videos on what's the day in the life of somebody working in the energy sector or in the wind energy. And the way to reach those is through Instagram, through TikTok, through all of your social media channels. And that's how I see us kind of recruiting and building the workforce of tomorrow. And then the last thing that I'll mention in terms of recruitment and building that workforce is we have to be there to support all of the wraparound services directly with the recruitment. So they need to know what are the jobs, what's the training for those jobs, and what's going to be my pay, how is this going to support my family. So I think building all of those things into the recruitment strategies and putting them through social media for recruitment is going to be critical.
Great. Well, with 140 miles of shoreline, I think we can offer a lot for the future of New Jersey in this space. Kim, I'm going to switch over to you. I would love to, obviously employment is incredibly important, but there are other pieces to this puzzle, and I wonder if you can expand on Clinton Hill's vision and how you kind of take a more holistic approach to serving the families of this community.
Sure. One of the things that Clinton Hill Community Action prioritizes healthy neighborhoods, healthy schools, healthy communities, right? Because we all know that just by increasing your income is not going to resolve all the problems, right? And so the economic stability means more stable quality housing, more robust economic corridors, and more accessibility to healthy, nutritious foods. That's very important when you have food deserts in communities. Also, the Clinton Hill Community Action understands that they're working to develop more affordable housing, because that is key. We know in the city of Newark, we have about a 72 to 74% rental, and not a lot of individuals own the homes. And so we want to stabilize the neighborhoods and communities within the 3 neighborhoods of the South Ward. So that home ownership piece, that home repair, we heard conversations what Isles is doing with lead in the homes, poor air quality in the homes. 1 out of 4 children in the city of Newark has asthma, so the air quality is crucial. So we have to make sure that we are providing these kind of services and opportunities to the residents. And then the business improvement districts. We have corridors in our South Ward that need to be improved, and they can be improved with green micro businesses, right, that will employ the residents. If you employ residents, you build up the neighborhoods, you keep the money within the community. So that is very, very key. And we want true empowerment, but we also know that generational wealth is key. And a lot of the homeowners, the senior citizens, can't afford to maintain their homes. They want to pass them on to their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so we want to provide those services so that our community can be healthy, vibrant, and thriving with green jobs and a thriving economy. That's what we want to do.
So, disrupting a cycle of spiraling downwards is part of what we're all working on. And I love the vision. I actually was really enjoying, as you were talking about families, there were some children out there who were screaming, and I was thinking that's exactly what we're here for. So, thank you for that. Robert, next question is for you. I wonder if you can talk specifically about offshore wind and how your members are not only viewing that, but what obstacles you are seeing as you go along.
Thank you. So currently the opportunities that are out there is kind of new to our members, just on based on the actual work skills that are going to be required. And what's the ask? So are they going to be working offshore for how long? They're going to be leaving their families for an extended period of time, and those type of things. So looking at that, currently right now we have real-time jobs going on at the New Jersey Windport in Salem, New Jersey. We have jobs going on in the EEW Monopile facility in Paulsboro. So we're connecting our CART program through pre-apprenticeship programs to those positions. It's getting the information to those students that, right now they're working onshore preparing those foundations and those actual jobs with those contractors. But it's also the prospect of maybe you have to go out and maintain those and install and then maintain over the length of the project overall and what we're doing. So that seems to be the biggest need, is the education piece to what the maintenance looks like and the operations and maintenance looks like, for what we're doing.
Are your members enthusiastic about this space?
I'm sorry?
Are they enthusiastic about this space?
Absolutely, yeah, they're ecstatic. I mean, there's a buzz and an excitement right now throughout our industry, and the carpenters are more than just carpenters. We have all different trades. So those trades, to have the emerging industries you see, with the refineries and power plants of the world, and now this coming up and doing its part for the global warming crisis, we think is very important, and they're very excited.
Fantastic. Okay, perfect. So next question is for all of you, really. I just wonder, as we continue to make strategic investments in the green economy, I'm wondering if, how we can identify other organizations like yours with whom we can work, and also get the word out about the opportunities that, we are creating here and now. And I'm also, I guess the other thing I would ask is, if you have other ideas about other investments that we could make in terms of jump-starting this entire economy. So it's a free-for-all. Who would like to go first? Anyone want to jump in?
Kim, 'cause she's
Okay, Andre, let's go.
To create an active interagency task force, right? While we're developing this, we want to have folks on the ground a part of this task force, not just the executive directors, but workers that are on the ground to really help us problem solve. Because as you create new initiatives, there are going to be growing pains, and we want to make sure that we're hitting the targets. And the only way to do that is to constantly revisit where we are and how we can improve. So having an interagency task force made up of employers, possible employers, workers on the ground, and just really kind of continue to see where we can go, what we can do better, and where we went wrong. So having that, I think, is important. And also provide through support through, I think Kim mentioned, micro business development, companies to really come in to really build them up. We have a component that does that through partnership with Union County Economic Development Corporation. But a much more robust and well-funded and wide-ranging program should be generated by wind power, geothermal, and community solar needs that needs a lot more high-quality contractors. So we want to engage those guys as well. And as we're developing the workforce in the entry level, they have something that they can work towards if we develop the high-quality training as well.
Thanks, Andre. Just to follow up there, in terms of this question of recruitment and getting people excited about this work, I mean, ISLES really works in the community. Can you just tell us a little bit about how that recruitment really happens and how you're able to kind of talk about this exciting opportunity and things that, you know, we've talked about wraparound services, but sort of other initiatives that could really help kind of recruit and retain that workforce that you're working with?
Sure. Well, I have to just say, me, myself, I'm an example of ISLES making an investment with a guy like me who was formerly incarcerated and trying to figure out a way to feed my family. And so when guys come see me, I don't look at their current situation. I look at what's possible for those guys and ladies, not to, but anyone trying to get into this workforce, looking at where they are and what we need to put in place. And I think it doesn't just stop there with folks that are coming out of the system. I have folks that come to me that never been in the system but still need this assistance because I realize that there's many prisons out there, proverbial prisons, right? Prisons of bad habits. Life happens, and guys just looking for a way to get back on track. We can help those individuals as well. So we have different categories, different needs that we want to definitely support. Over the years, it's proven good. Really helping develop the contractor, the individual, to work on areas in their community that need help, like in childhood lead poisoning, energy efficiency. So over the years, it's been proving good, and we have a position in the community. Folks look for us for direction, and we want this is going to really support us to really expand our reach and provide the necessary services to make them successful.
Everybody wants to jump the queue ahead of Kim.
Yeah, if I could jump in just to...
All right, Robert, you're up.
Just to piggyback what Andre said, thank you, First Lady. Just to piggyback, what I see here is the state has put this panel together. The state has awarded the funding to the recipients here. There's multiple recipients like this throughout the state of New Jersey. What we're talking about here, what Andre's saying, what Kim's saying, is aligning with Xavier and Kate, is aligning with what the Carpenters are all about, and I think that we have that contractor base to push out there. To have us work together collectively, I think you guys saw the alignment as you created the funding opportunity and awarded the funding. To have us work together, I think, would be great, because I think that's what's going to really make the most impact from all the diverse perspectives. Thank you.
Hard to disagree. Okay, anyone else before I go to Kim?
I just want to quickly add, that is 100% spot on. We have to go to where the people are and go to the people that know. And by the people that know, it's not the executive directors, it's not the presidents or the vice presidents at the level. It's the people doing the hands-on work. And so I think the only way for us to learn and to be able to support is to learn from those individuals that are in that industry. And we have to look as a state, as these new initiatives and these new programs and new jobs start to develop, what is that whole talent pipeline, and what are all of those jobs? Because when you look at for example, I'll slant towards the offshore wind industry, it's not just setting up windmills and building them and maintaining them. It's maritime work. It's how do you get people out there? It's transportation. It's energy. It's it's lubrication work on ball bearings. I mean, the biggest things that break out there are the ball bearings, from what I understand. So it's not just one or two careers, it's the whole pathway. And we won't know those unless we talk to the people with the boots on the ground. So I think the biggest thing that we need to do as a state is to understand all of these emerging industries, whether it's water, wind, solar, whatever it is, and what is the whole gamut of all of those job opportunities. And I think we have to work with our industry partners and not the heads of those industry partners, those that are actually doing the work, to bring those opportunities to the state and into these communities, because the proverbial prison, that's exactly the biggest problem and the biggest barrier that people have. They lock themselves into that, and we got to show them the ways out.
Fantastic. Kate?
You're all saying such amazing, perfect things. I'll just kind of add, I think that's completely true. And our program launched about 3 years ago, and it was a trial. We didn't have a blueprint. We were figuring out, like, where do we get started? And where we got started was truly getting in as far as we can to the actual community members and what they truly need. And that's very different for every community and for every organization. What has worked for us, I think, is making sure that we're having those conversations and understanding the specific needs, and then being able to provide whatever's necessary to those community members. Whether it's, for us, it was installation training, so we're training on installers to be a solar installer, which is where a lot of these jobs are. As a result of for us, it's the community solar program. It's a quick deployment. Like, it's not that hard to put solar on roofs, so we kind of figured out that we were able to do a training quickly, and that's been effective. It doesn't take a lot, but it's making sure that we have the resources. So we're so grateful for this, because for us, it's going to be enhancing our trainers, just expanding it. So that's really exciting. And I just also wanted to kind of plug a little bit for education, because that's another huge thing. And I'm a former educator, and I think getting involved in the schools, we did a program, Todd's in the back, and one of my colleagues, where we called it Train the Trainer. And we were going to these vocational programs and actually training their teachers on how to bring this back to their students. And that was really successful. We spent the summer doing that, and I think that's another thing that's really important, is making sure that we're getting into vocational schools, high schools, and just letting them know that this is where the jobs are. You're in a beautiful, perfect state for this. So I think that's another thing, is just making sure that we're getting to the students early.
Kim, I have to jump in for 1 second. I just have to say, I could not agree with you more on the education piece, and I'm really excited. If you don't already know this, you must know New Jersey is the only state in the United States that has incorporated climate change education in the K-12 curriculum.
It's been my favorite part of my job personally, is just going to these schools. We're only a small team, so that's one of the things we're most excited about, but being in the schools and actually talking to the students is awesome.
It's the best, and it's so interesting, because I've had some people originally not from our state have been like, oh, climate change, huh? And I say, yeah, well, the economy around the world is moving towards a green economy, and if you don't want your future generations to have the knowledge, the skill set, the vocabulary, and be able to think out of the box in this space, that's fine, because New Jersey students will take every single job. And with that, the long awaited for Kim.
Thank you. And one of the things that I want to add is the pre-apprenticeship. That the relationship and building a solid relationship with the local labor unions in our communities, because that's problematic. We want solar cells, not jail cells, right? That's what we want. We want a bright future for our community members. But oftentimes, we don't have that relationship with the unions that we need. And so that is a key piece, and we talked about it, and I think New Jersey is really ready now to forge and really establish that relationship so that we can help our residents become members of these unions as well. And then one of the things that I want to add that we haven't talked about is the policy changes. Right? We have to make sure that we have policy changes that include the establishments of an office for emerging green jobs. That's why I'm so glad my councilman is here and my councilwoman, because it's important that we codify municipal operations, right? So that we can really do the work that we say we want to do. We need to know that our engineering department, our water department, is going to develop in our city along the lines of these emerging green jobs for our economy. And so if we can make sure that that is prioritized, then we can optimize the jobs in the future for our, residents and youngsters. And then I want to also say education, education, education. We have to start early. Letting our youth understand, and that's why we're here in this early childhood center, right? They need to be starting right now to be exposed to what this future is with renewable energy. Wind and solar is so key. We want to make sure that our communities, like I said, that is impacted by cumulative impacts of pollution, that is not our future. It was our past. But as we begin to move forward, we want to make sure that we are changing those dynamics. And so this is, a 20-year fight for me. So I'm thankful to you, First Lady Murphy, for helping us be a part of the future of what New Jersey is going to be, because we're South Ward proud and we're South Ward strong. That's my cheering spot.
The rest of this panel is going to have to wise up to this next time you're invited to be on a panel. So listen, you just gave me the perfect segue to the last question that I have, and that is, could any of you expand on any specific policy recommendations that you might have that will allow us to, improve opportunity in the green job sector?
Okay, well, Governor Murphy just recently signed into law measures which will substantially limit the use of driver's license suspensions as a sanction for violating non-moving offenses. And that's in place, but assistance is needed to help restore driving privileges for people who have had their license suspended for non-vehicle violations. So if a person gets a drug charge, their driver's license is automatically suspended, and that immediately creates a barrier to success, and that can be addressed on a policy level. And Kim had mentioned green infrastructure, and I know what drives green infrastructure is regulations. And if we have more regulations in the implementation of green infrastructure, it creates lots of jobs in landscaping, and it reduces floods as well. So it's twofold why it's something that's needed, but we want to engage folks that want to go to work. Why not put them to work for something useful like that? So, but it happens at the policy level. And I just want to add this. When I'm on the ground working with folks and trying to help them put things together, it's really refreshing to know that government is working. And a lot of times government gets a bad rap on certain issues, but I'm here to say that I always tell guys, I said, man, on the policy level, folks are fighting. And all we have to do is our part on the ground. And my job is to really rev them up so that they can do their part. But this is where it happens, and I just want to thank you, First Lady, and the Governor's office for really investing in the people. So thank you. I'm trying. She's motivated.
Okay, Andre, I appreciate that, and I know you're absolutely right. We get in there every day and fight, and I know, speaking for myself, for Jane, and for my husband and everybody in the administration, it's really gratifying when things start panning out. So it's great that we're able to be here today. Kate, anything you want to add in policy?
Yes, I would love to add that I think from a policy level, the community solar program has been so successful. We're so lucky in New Jersey, like the way that it's been written and the way that it's been executed.
Hey, Kate, can you just explain quickly what the
community solar is? I guess I say it so often that I assume everybody understands it. Community solar is a really simple concept. Essentially, especially in New Jersey, we're taking these large industrial rooftops, warehouse spaces, if you picture like a distribution center, and covering them with panels. So that, and you don't see them right now. There's the first one that was executed in New Jersey was in Perth Amboy. It's not that far from here. They're like the size of multiple football fields. They cover the roof. That energy is then delivered into the grid, and anyone can have the access to clean air. So if you live in a complex where you don't have your own roof, if you're in an apartment or a condo or an elderly community, you can just subscribe to that energy. It's so simple, and it's I think something that is probably should be the future. So New Jersey has done such a good job with this program. We have, I think in the last round, there was, I believe, 150 megawatts that were selected for our state. So I would say just keep expanding that. Other states are paying attention. I think California just wrote a very similar program. I can name several other states that are doing the same thing. So it's working, and I think that the fact that workforce development has been a requirement for the community solar program has been super important. I say to people all the time, like, the fact that we're requiring something that's so community involved is really beautiful, and it's working. So that would be my plug, is hopefully we keep expanding that program.
Robert.
Thank you. On policy, just any federal or state policy that can be enacted to protect the American jobs offshore. That's a big concern for the citizens of the United States, citizens of New Jersey as well. Any federal or state policy stating that the offshore green jobs require any foreign-based developer or manufacturer the roadmap to training with United States registered training providers or New Jersey registered apprenticeship programs, that we can connect the pipeline from communities here in the South Ward versus other communities throughout the state of New Jersey, that those jobs are actually connected to responsible training, responsible contractors. And I think that kind of legislation really helps create that whole pipeline through. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Rickards.
I had a very similar view on this. When we look at policies, I think we have new emerging industries and new businesses that are coming into New Jersey. What I think we need to do in New Jersey is to have policies requiring these businesses to provide paid training opportunities and paid upskilling opportunities, because you hear of the term stacking credential or stacking the workforce. People can enter in at the lowest level, but if they want to have upward mobility, if the industries aren't required to provide training and paid training for these individuals, they're going to be stuck in those jobs that may not get them to the prevailing life wages. So what I think we need to do as a state on a policy perspective is to require these businesses that are coming in here to provide funding and provide wraparound support services to train individuals, whether it's pre-apprenticeship, whether it's the lowest level of workers that enter into the companies at that time. They need to provide and be required to provide the training and wraparound services that are paid and compensated at a fair rate so that people can make that prevailing wage and climb that ladder all the way up to the industries.
Kim.
Just a couple things. One of the things that's so important is millions of dollars are coming into our cities for water infrastructure. With the long-term control plans, there's a requirement for green infrastructure. So there should be some policies that the water departments partner with the community-based organizations so that as we train them up to become green infrastructure installers, they are then employed on those projects within the municipalities. And then another piece similar to solar and wind is that we need to make sure that we are providing the opportunities to create green hub incubators within those communities like Newark and Trenton, the EJ communities, so that we can be training up and partnering with the businesses to train up our residents to be prepared for these future jobs. I think there's a disconnect because sometimes where the wind opportunities are, they're not right here in Newark, but all the pieces to the turbines can be right here in Newark. Right, so there is that connectiveness and that we need to make sure we prioritize so that the EJ communities are not left behind.
Well said. So I think I want to tell you this is the end, sadly, of our Q&A for today. I want to thank all of you for being here, and I can't tell you from my vantage point how excited I am about the promise that all of you are showing for our state. You know, the big part of the Green Council was for us to go out and listen and to understand and to, really engage with communities, and particularly on social justice and, making sure that we are doing the right thing for everyone and not having some prosper while others are not able to do so. So I think that this is a really exciting opportunity for all of us. Really appreciate the panelists being here and everyone else. There is no question that we are seeing the impact of the climate threat across, every aspect, every geographic area of our state, whether it's sea level rise or algal blooms or, microbursts. I mean, we're seeing it, and we have got to confront that, and the way that we're doing it is by working together with organizations like yours, by making sure that we are creating the jobs of the future, and all the while having an absolute focus on social justice. And for that reason, I thank you all for being here. That leaves me a lot of hope for the future. And that's it. It's a wrap.